Jetzt mal. Jetzt mal.
I'll tell you what.
Yes, we should have a microphone. We have one.
And to remind you, the questions ending with the question not to give another speech. No speeches.
Right.
To give the statements, manifestation, it's fine, but not to do speeches. And listen, and if you want to listen to it, it's up to you. It's fine. If you want to come the time,
Sorry.
are you okay? Okay. Wow. That is just this is yours. Yes.
Yes, I'm listening to you. Thank you for giving.
Leave your tissues up here.
Sure, whatever you say. I know she's posing. She's posing. But then they're saying it. Yeah, I know. My sister did that.
Where's Mike?
So for the questions, we need to run around. Yeah. Are you going to do that?
She's just take a deep breath and say no another time. Who knows? They came from wherever. And now people are parking and walking. Is that the story? The only bad thing about this setup is it's beautiful, but the light is up there. So you're staying kind of in the dark. We need a spotlight in this place. Or something. Well, I know, but nobody ever does it.
Is it solar?
Yeah, right. No. Only that. Only the eternal light. Only the eternal light. Frustrating.
Regular or always?
Lenetza.
Move it up. But he wants to be back here. Okay. All right. Well, there's people coming. We'll be starting in just a moment.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying. How many children do you have? How many children do you have?
Me personally? What? 9.
And the father also is alive?
I don't have a husband. I'm a lesbian. So, thanks to the technology of today, I had a baby. No, donor insemination, but I had a huge fibroid. So going into it, we weren't sure. So I was all big time, up, down, get that baby out.
And now you have a daughter?
I do. Yes. So,
So I want to learn about this.
yes, it's
Many
good.
things.
I would love to talk to you.
When can you?
Anytime. So, but you are here till when? Till after tomorrow? What are you talking about? Reproductive technology. No, I've been there, done. I'm
So-
48. I can't do it again.
No, but I don't, as I said to you, I don't believe anyone can be as even with surrogate mother, even for any young, 50, 60, we have the last woman who had 64. She has a uterus, we have the sperm from her, and egg donation. But the success of the pregnancy depends on the age of the woman.
But
The younger
so
gets
We are the Angel City Chorale. Actually, we're a lot less than the Angel City Chorale. There's about 140 of us missing tonight, but anyway, we've come to do a couple of selections for you tonight, and we're delighted to be here. So thank you for having us. So our first selection is on children. On.
I'm here.
Your children are not your children. They are the sons and the daughters of life, longing for itself. They come through you, but they are not from you. And though they are with you, they belong not to you. You can give them your love, but not your thoughts. They have their own thoughts. They have their own thoughts. You can house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in a place of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You can strive to be like them, but you cannot make them just like you. Strive to be like them, but you cannot make them just like you. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and the daughters of life, longing for itself. They come through you, but they are not from you. And though they are with you, they belong not to you. You can give them your love, but not your thoughts. They have their own thoughts. They have their own thoughts. You can house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in a place of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You can strive to be like them, but you cannot make them just like you. Strive to be like them, but you cannot make them just like you. Strive to be like them, but you cannot make them just like you. Strive to be like them, but you cannot make them just like you.
This next piece is Ubi Caritas. It is set by Maurice Durflay. It is a Gregorian chant, and we're doing it in Latin. And the text behind this is, where there is charity, there is God. I've got to get my piano out. Where there is charity, there is God.
Ubi caritas et amor, Deus ibi est. Ubi caritas et amor, Deus ibi est. Ubi caritas et amor, Deus ibi est. Congregavit nos in unum Christi amor. Congregavit nos in unum Christi amor. Exultemus et in ipso iuncundemus, timeamus et abemus Deus vivum, et ex corde dirigamus nos in cielo, et ex corde dirigamus nos in cielo, in cielo. Ubi caritas
This has been a week in America where we were once again reminded of the price of violence and how quickly we can go in our community from a sense of security and peacefulness to fear and pain and loss. The irony of this particular week of that tragedy in Boston being the week that we, Kehillat Israel, joined together with LMU and UCLA to sponsor this week of civil discourse is poignant and powerful. And it makes this evening all the more precious and special, because it is an evening in which together we are able to share the dreams of the way the world can be and the way the world should be, and the role that each of us can play in making that world come into being. 4 years ago, Didi and I had the privilege of hearing Dr. Abuelaish speak about not only the personal tragedy of his life, but more powerfully about the transformative power that an individual has to see through pain and sorrow and grief into the hearts of humanity and the commonness of us all. And after that evening, I spoke to him and I promised him, one of these days, as soon as I can, I'm going to bring you to my synagogue. So it's 4 years later, but here he is. And in that time, his remarkable internationally best-selling book, I Shall Not Hate, has been published. He has started the Daughters for Life Foundation and is continuing in his own personal quest, which he's about to share with all of us, for bringing peace and reconciliation into the world, one person at a time, and certainly with his foundation, one girl, one woman at a time. He has been nominated 3 years in a row for a Nobel Peace Prize. He has received, he was the first recipient ever of the Mahatma Gandhi Peace Prize. He is a voice that speaks from the heart and the soul. And he is a remarkable, loving, sweet human being whose life has been dedicated to healing as a doctor. And he brings that passion and compassion for human life still into his medical work, in his teaching in Toronto, and into this work, where he is traveling all over the world doing this. We were grateful that he turned down an invitation to be in Japan right now speaking, to be in Pacific Palisades instead. And you are all in for a very special evening. It is my great privilege and my great pleasure to introduce to all of you Dr. Izzeldin Abuelaish, remarkable.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Amy. Thanks to Steve Gomer, to all the people who came and to support this meeting in a time we are in need to come together, to listen, to talk, and to look around
about what is happening in our local small world and the international world. As Steve mentioned this week, what happened in Boston and other parts of the world. I see it. We are passionate about it. And we are trying to help and to feel with the people who suffered. How much do we want to give them? And personally, it's not going to help the people who lost their beloved ones, the wounded, because in times of war and conflict, we think of war as the soldier who is going to kill or to be killed, the casualties, the wounded. But what we didn't see in war is tens, hundreds of times of what did we see? We saw just the wound. But what are the consequences of this wound on the wounded person? What is happening in Boston? With the people there, the wounds will stay and the scars are there. The trauma is there. So I think it's a moment for all of us, because we are in this holy place. All of us to relieve ourselves from what do we call the other? Because who is the other? The other is us. We. And it's time to dress one robe, the robe of humanity and feeling connected with others. Because this world, you see it. It's a crazy world. And we need at the same time, where life challenges us, to learn how can we challenge life challenges. It's not the natural disasters, it's the man-made disasters. Because the suffering in this world, it's man-made. It's not from God. We need to have that faith in God where God gives us every good thing and wants the good for the people in this world. But the people themselves are spreading the evil acts. And also we need to learn to challenge ourselves. How can we face the challenges we are facing? As I said, the suffering in this world is man-made. And personally, I looked at it. My suffering, when I was born as a Palestinian refugee, to suffer the misery of life, I said, it's man-made suffering. It's induced. What can I do to make a difference of not accepting it? This is the hope of it. It's man-made. I can't challenge God. Even God is not there to challenge. God is there to help us and to support us. But people who are challenging each other, what makes the evil to flourish in this world is good people to do nothing, to see it thinking it's far from them. But the hope in this world, that the suffering in this world, it's man-made. And what can we do to challenge it, of not accepting it, and to act, to do something? Life is full of surprises. And my life was a real war. Fighting on a daily basis just to survive, to live the moment. But we have to find the way of not accepting it and the biggest weapon to face it. It's not the gun, it's not the violence or the people as we see them, to be violent or silent. We don't want to be violent or silent. We need to act in a positive way. Because violence or silence, both of them are destructive. And the most difficult time in my life, it was just in 4 months period. And number 16, I will never forget it. It's printed in my mind. 16th of September 2008 is the day when I lost my wife of acute leukemia. And I thought it's the end of the world. Because as a child, when I was a child, if someone to ask me, with whom would you like to live? I will say with my mother. And my faith and the human values prove that the orphan is not the one who loses the father. The orphan is the one who loses the mother. The big heart, the incubator, the one who brings all together. It's not easy. I try these days to take the role of the father and the mother, but as much as I can. But I will never compensate my daughters. The kindness, the love, the mother they can give them. And the taste of that love, it's different. I was the first Palestinian doctor to practice medicine in an Israeli hospital. I started it during what do we call the first intifada, when I used to cross the borders as a formal physician working in the Israeli hospitals to prove that we can live together and that we are similar. Because medicine, when we speak about medicine, what is medicine? It's about healing, about curing, about equality, about justice, about respect, about privacy, about freedom of diseases, of need, of suffering. That's medicine, that's health. When we treat a patient, here now we are in this holy place. Muslims, Jewish, Christians, all of them are similar and equal. And in the hospital, all are equal. The difference between them is their diagnosis. And the treatment is designed according to their suffering and their diagnosis, not according to their ethnicity, background, name, religion. What do they have? Medicine is the human stabilizer in this world. It's the human equalizer. Doctors are messengers of humanity, of helping others. They are blessed, as we are, to deal with the most holy thing in the universe. It's a human being. Saving one, you save the world. Killing one, you kill the world. The happiest moment in my life, when I worked there for more than 10 years, when I handled the baby to his mother. The cry of this newborn baby is a cry of hope. A new life is coming. And all of the time I was thinking, what a future is waiting for this newborn baby. What life is waiting for them. It's our responsibility. I continued my work after I lost my wife because of my children who supported me. In particular, my daughter Bisan, who was the eldest, who was 20 years old, she said to me, count on God and continue your support and work. I went there. But in this crazy world we are living in, no one knows what will happen tomorrow. And that's life. And because we don't know what will happen tomorrow, from my little experience, can say to you, I used to travel a lot to work, to study, to support, not knowing what will happen tomorrow. If I knew the future, at least I will minimize my travel and to spend as much as I can of my time with my daughters and my wife. So one of the things I say to you, don't say tomorrow. If you want to do something, do it today. Spend as much as you can of your time with the people you love. Eat with them. Talk to them, kiss them, hug them. You don't know these moments in this crazy world if they will come back or not. I continued then 16th of January 2009 is the day when my daughters, Bisan, Mayar, Aya, and my niece Noor were killed when their room was bombed by 2 Israeli tank shells. For nothing they did. They were girls, armed, equipped with love, with education, with the plans. Bisan, that I can write books about her, from whom I learned. And we need one of the things to take with us, to listen to our children, to learn from them. They are wise enough to teach us. Bisan, whom I missed and I learned a lot, was the first Palestinian girl to send to peace camps at the age of 14. When I sent her, I got a call that there is a camp for girls. I said, it's for girls. I know they can make it. I sent her to that camp. When she came back to say to me, I learned how similar are we. Muslims, Jewish, Christians, Druze, Bedouins, they were together in that camp. Our children, they found out how similar are we. But we, as parents, we deepen the divide, that we are not similar. At that age of 14, she came to say, and it's documented in a documentary now, that to meet violence with violence doesn't solve any problem. At that age, she said, everything starts small, then becomes big. Everything starts in one place and goes in different directions. That's Bisan. From whom? That I miss. After she lost her mother, she was in her BA, the final year, studying day and night, and she took the role of her mother. As most of our children, they have the nightmare when they have academic exams. She came to say to me, now I learned something, that academic exams are the easiest in life. The most difficult exams are life exams. When we are tested with the loss of the beloved ones, and we in this world, every day we are tested with what is happening in this world. I don't want anyone on earth to see what did I see at that time when I saw my daughters. These beautiful girls, they became parts, spreading in their room, drowning in their blood. As a father, I wanted to see them for the last moment. Where is Bisan? Where is Mayar? Where is Aya? Where is Noor? I can't recognize them. But it's important. Faith is very helpful when everything is gone in this world and the help of a human being is not there, there is one who is awake. There is one who is alive and will never keep us to collapse. God is there. At that moment, I directed my face only just to God. During that moment of seeing my daughters becoming birds, I was asking just God, because I fully believe if all the world wants to help you and God doesn't want, it will never happen. And if all the world wants to do harm to you and God doesn't, it will never happen. During that time, I directed my face to God to say, to ask for help from God. And it was God's plan who sees things. He knows, and we don't know. And everything is for a good cause. We may see it as bad, but God knows. Later on, we realize it's for good. I started to ask myself why I was saved. It happened seconds after I left my daughter's room. Few seconds, 5 seconds, I left it, the first bomb came. If I stayed with them, I would be gone. And to be added to the numbers of people who are killed. And to say 100, 200, 1,000, 1,400. To speak about human beings as statistics, as figures. I will never accept it. Because as I said, saving one's life, you save the world. Killing one, you kill the world. Behind every human being, there is a story. Every human being has a name, has a face, has parents, has family, has a future, has plans. It's time to zoom in and to look at a human as a human. I said this tragedy is for good and will be invested for good. And when I started at this moment to think, what can I do? To see my daughters who were killed, my daughter Shada who was severely wounded, my brother, my niece, and as a scene to think of the future of my children. And to see my son, Muhammad, who was standing in front of me. He is 12 years old. What the future is waiting for him? Is he going? What do we call to be crazy, violent, terrorist, injected with hatred? He looked at me and to say to me, why are you screaming? Why are you crying? You must be happy. I said, my son, he doesn't know what is going on. He wants me to be happy. He said, no, I know my sisters are killed, but you must be happy because I know that my sisters are happy there. They are with their mom. She asked for them. That's the 12 years old Palestinian child. I said, I don't need to worry about him. If he said that, I have to carry the wound, the pain, to move forward. As Einstein said, life is like riding a bicycle. To keep balanced, we must keep moving. I kept moving faster, stronger, more determined, not to give up or forget my daughters. And in my life now, I am running my life because I am accountable only to God and to my daughters, whom I see them talking to me, what did you do for us? I say to them from here, I am sending you prayers and the blessings and doing everything you wanted in life and to keep you alive in the hearts, minds, and souls of people. And I swore to God and to my daughters, where I am doing it, it's a responsibility that I have to continue with it. I will never rest. I will never relax or give up, because I fully believe one day I will meet them. I say to them, I missed you. I would like one day to meet you with the big gift. It's the justice for them and the freedom for others, and to tell them, your holy and noble souls were not waste. It made a difference in others' lives. But what is important, which means to be used? Is it the bullet we used to be killed? Is it the violence? Is it the silence? I will never use that. I have to speak out. It's my wisdom, and you have all of that. It's our good, kind, and strong words. Because words are stronger than bullets. The bullet kills once, but the word can stay there for life. And the good deeds, to send them. This means that's the way to move forward. And in our life that we made, life is what we make it. Always has been, always will be. It's in our hands. We can shape our life the way we want. Not to blame others. When I wrote my book, I Shall Not Hate, because the people were expecting me to hate. I say to them, we are blessed to be human beings. And what is the meaning of being a human being? Is to have choices, to think of our choices. Is it the right way to hate? And is it the right mean that will bring my daughters justice with hatred? It's not. Hatred will impact the one who carries it. Hatred is the fire which burns the one who carries it. It's not going to impact the one you plan to hate. The one you plan to hate is away from you. Even he doesn't think of you. So instead of wasting yourself, self-destructive means, what can you do to challenge? What do we call the perpetrator? To move forward and to succeed. Hatred, as Rabbi Sachs said, it's the biggest weapon of mass destruction. It destroys the one who carries it. Instead of that, don't allow hatred to invade you. Any one of us, when we face or exposed to any harm, we are victims of that harm. So if we started to inject ourselves with this destructive hatred, as someone who is victim of a disease, we are a victim of hatred, which is a destructive disease. It's a cancer. Hatred is a cancer. that eats the one who carries it. Don't accept in life to be a victim more than once. It's enough the first time, and what did you learn from the first time? Not to be a victim anymore, and not to see any victims, not to accept others to be victims in this world. The antidote of hatred and revenge is success. To succeed, to survive. And that's what I learned from my daughter Shada. My daughter Shada was 17 at that time. She was studying day and night to be one of the top 10 in Palestine in the high school. She was studying during the war on candles. Then she was severely wounded. And what Shada suffered in 1 year, mountains can't tolerate what did she suffer. The start of the school year, she lost her mother. Then 4 months later, she lost the 3 sisters and niece, and she was severely wounded. She spent 4 months in the hospital where I am working, in Tel Aviv. April, she was discharged. She lost the sight